What do you think creativity is? I'm going to get a little bit corny here and drop the literal dictionary definition of creativity just to get us started. Creativity is the ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, or relationships to create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations, etc. First of all, I hate that the definition uses the word create. So for this discussion, I'm actually going to use the word discover. And then I also really don't like that they chose the word ability because it implies that some people have the ability to be creative and others do not, which fundamentally, to my core, the whole reason for this channel, I disagree with. So I also prefer to consider creativity as a process rather than an ability or a talent. Next, I want to focus on the words meaningful and interpretations. The meaning or significance of something is truly subjective. Other people might have similar values or hold a similar opinion, but it can only truly be understood, it can only be felt at an individual level. And I love the use of the word interpretations because that's exactly what's happening in the creative process. You are interpreting your subjective value and meaning of all the elements, ingredients, and components, whatever you're using or whatever you're manipulating to compose your idea. Now, I said creativity is interpretation, not skill. Skill is actually a separate thing. It's what you use to convert your idea or your concept into reality. And it often comes at the end or as a result of several creative processes. So what the hell am I talking about? I want to invite you to shift your mindset of creativity as a special ability or talent that some people have and look at it this way. Creativity is a mental and emotional process of reinterpreting familiar ideas, rules, patterns, and materials to discover new meaning or purpose. Why is this such a significant shift in mindset? It means that all that is necessary to be creative at an individual level is to find new meanings in everything. And because one of the fundamental characteristics of being a human being is the possession of an imagination, which allows us to hold ideas and images and even full emotional experiences in our minds that don't exist in reality. This means that we are all fully capable of being creative. Okay, so we have a new definition of creativity, but what do we do with that? Here's another shift I want to invite you to. Creativity is not an act of doing. It's an act of choosing. Ultimately, it's just a process of curation. Within a few minutes, pretty much anybody in the world can be taught to apply paintbrush strokes that look like any famous painter you can imagine. But the ability to put paint on canvas is a skill. That's not the act of creativity. Those painters with each brushstroke are choosing where color should lie. They're asking themselves if this feels right or not. They're choosing the length and width of each brushstroke and asking themselves, does this feel right in relation to these other brushstrokes? Does this feel right in relation to my interpretation of what I'm trying to say? Does this feel right relative to what the client is expecting? Does this capture the expression or the intensity of a gesture or of a facial feature? Not does this look right to some objective measure, but does this feel right to me? Is this helping me tell the story that I'm trying to tell? While there are limitless ways to train and teach skills and measure their effectiveness, there is no correctness to a creative choice. It is an emotional feeling, which is why creativity, choosing, is an emotional process. And of course, this doesn't just apply to artistic works. In the same way that a gallerist arranges photography in a space or a DJ chooses music and energy based on the crowd in the venue, any creative project is automatically a mix of intellectual and emotional observation, awareness of traditional ways of doing things, and an openness to seeing everything and every part of that project from a new perspective. And with all of this awareness, you simply make one choice after another. And the good news is this is something that you can practice in your daily life really at any time. Change the way you consider your world. Next time you're walking your dog down the street and admiring the houses on your block, or you're watching a movie with a really nicely lit scene, or you're listening to a piece of music that you're really connecting to, try to ask yourself, what kind of decisions did that architect make, or did that film crew have to go through, or did that producer and singer talk about to achieve the results that you're connecting with? Have a look closely at the details and identify which ones are standing out or which ones are blending well together. Pay attention to these things because every single one of them was a choice for somebody with the intention to make it feel a certain way. Imagine different methods or approaches in your daily life. If you make breakfast every day, try using different spices. If you listen to the radio, try listening to a different station. If you make your kids' lunches for school, try arranging things creatively in the lunchbox to tell a little bit of a story. If your family or your roommates are parking their cars in frustrating ways in the driveway that makes it difficult to leave every morning, try coming up with a new arrangement or configuration to alleviate the problem. The point here is not to undo everything that you're comfortable with, but it is to get comfortable with looking at things that you're familiar with in a new way, to find new solutions, to find new ways of arranging the components of your life. Play wild cards, throw curveballs. If you're having creative discussions with your friends about what to do for a party, or at work about a new project that you're trying to get going, or with your family about, what kind of new furniture to get or something like this, try throwing intentional curveballs. Be unexpected. You're probably not going to choose the wildest idea, but what it will do is throw you off center in your thinking. Your mind will start considering new components and ingredients and characteristics that it would never have introduced, and that'll inevitably change the way that you think about approaching a decision. And remember, and I know I've already said it a bunch of times, creativity is an emotional process as much as an intellectual one, and you cannot feel creative without being emotional. Whenever I'm stuck on a project and I'm not sure where to go, or if I've kind of stalled out, a lot of times what I'll do is ask myself, how am I trying to feel? I'll try to, with my imagination, create the signature that I would like to feel at the end of the project. This can act as a really great homing beacon to help you get back on course if you're feeling a little bit lost. Remember, creativity is not some skill or talent that only a few people have. It's an emotional process of interpreting the world around you and making choices, which all of us can do. It just takes practice. Seeing your entire world from a new perspective can be unfamiliar at first, but once you get used to this, you start to find solutions and ideas in everything around you.